Alright guys, how's it going? Cup of tea time. Martin Zubimendi. Sick of hearing his name now. I don't know about you or if it affects you in a different way during the transfer window, but after a while you start to get a bit sick of it all, I think. Caramelised. Oh, smell beautiful. So, I'm seeing on social media people having a meltdown today. They had a meltdown last week. Because they're all paying attention to one journalist in the region, if you like, and they don't know anything about this journalist. He's not a high-profile journalist, but they're taking everything he says as gospel. You know, maybe they should. Maybe that's fair. Maybe he's great. But what you have to remember, and I've seen this a lot over the 26 years I've been doing this, is that imagine how boring it must be. No disrespect, but to just cover like Real Sociedad in one region, like just for the local press. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe I'm not being mean or anything. I'm just saying, like, compared to Ornstein or Joyce, you know, the big. So you must have aspirations if you're a local journalist. You start out somewhere, do it, and you climb the ladder or whatever and progress. It's like a footballer, isn't it? They start out, you know, they're happy to sit on the bench, and then they want first team football, and then maybe the dream of playing for a European great one day or something like that. We all have ambitions in life, I guess. Well, I don't have any ambitions, just to stay alive, I think. The point I'm making here is that now is a good opportunity to raise your profile, to build your profile, to get a lot more followers on social media and things like that. When Liverpool Football Club was put up for sale or looking for investors in November 2022, I think it was, nobody had really heard of Ben Jacobs before, but he suddenly became this journalist that everyone wanted to listen to. And as a result of that story, that coverage at the time, his profile went through the roof. And then he's, you know, more employment opportunities. I think he's Talk Sports Middle Eastern football correspondent or something, I don't know. But nobody had heard of him before. And he might be a really nice fella. But it's really strange. I've noticed this over the years, that some of these journalists, they'll make an exclusive, right? And then 2 days later they'll say, oh, there's been a change of plan, it's off now. So what I mean is, they're making their exclusive, and you believe them. This was said, that was said, this is going to happen. Then 2 days later, they can cancel their own exclusive by going, they couldn't agree terms. But in those 2 days, they've received a lot of, traction or whatever. I'm not saying that's the case here. What I'm saying here is just be cautious. You wouldn't just listen to, I don't know, imagine it the other way around. If you're in Real Sociedad, you know, if you're a fan of Real Sociedad and you're following, looking for something to do with Liverpool Football Club at the moment, someone in Liverpool to follow with regards what's happening to your star player, you'd advise them, wouldn't you? Say, oh, don't listen to that silly, you know what I mean? I don't think you should all listen to what one journalist is saying. I prefer to listen to a number of journalists and form my own opinions, unless, of course, there's someone in your ear behind the scenes, but that's very rare. So it's very easy to come out now and say Liverpool have set a deadline for a decision. Why is it easy? Well, it's common sense, isn't it? You could say that now and get away with it, right? That door's going to bang behind me. Do you remember I did it yesterday? I shit myself. this is what these Twitter twats do, you know, these ITKs as well. Because you can go along it and go, oh, personal terms have been agreed now. You know, if it's starting to sound positive. But the truth is Liverpool won't go for a player if those things hadn't been agreed anyway, unofficially. But it's kind of like you can go along that process. You know, Liverpool are now looking at arranging a medical. So if for example, it was more positivity at the moment, you could say that as a journalist, couldn't you? Even if you didn't know it to be true. Because, you know, it's a deal's going ahead. Or it sounds like a deal's going ahead. So Liverpool are looking at, not haven't arranged for 2 o'clock on Wednesday, because no one ever does that. They'll say they're looking at arranging a medical. Do you know what I mean? So right now, the current state of play, if you were a Twitter twat, right, or a journalist trying to make a name for himself or herself, you could say now, Liverpool have set a deadline. It's pretty obvious Liverpool have a deadline, isn't it, of when, you know, any transfer deal or negotiations, just like any agent in that does, or any player or any selling club, because you have to prepare for other things. So why would you pay too much attention to someone saying there's been a deadline set? Do you know what I mean? It's common sense, right? All that does is create more drama and sensationalism, and also creates a bit of a negative vibe in the fan base, because the fans now will be even more like, well, I'm waiting for this guy. If he doesn't want to play for Liverpool, fuck him, kind of thing. Yeah, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing people with attitude. They've had that attitude for a while. What I'm seeing is a player that's needed time to think about leaving a club since he was 12 years old. A player that was born in the region, a very patriotic region in Spain, and feels blessed and so proud to play for that club. That's what I'm seeing. And I'm going to go into another bit of the video here, but I think I'm going to make it another video, otherwise this will be super long. So this one I'm going to leave this with the message in this video is, you'll see these accounts on social media, they've been quoting this one particular journalist and he's flip-flopping all the time. But their job, those accounts, is to gain interaction and more comments. So the more dramatic it all sounds, whether it's true or not, the more Liverpool fans desperate for the deal to happen or angry because he hasn't committed yet are commenting. And the more comments in a post on X, the more advertising revenue you make if you're monetized. Just so you know that. For example, on here on YouTube, whether one person replies or 1,000 people reply, it doesn't make any difference. But on X, you know, you want more people. This is why these accounts post you snippets of everything and every journalist's claim. Because they're not really doing anything, are they? You're quite capable of reading what any of those journalists have got to say by following their own social media. But these aggregator accounts do this. They're not really doing any work if you think about it. They're not giving you anything. But they make more money. They make more revenue. And journalists that aren't really known can really raise their profile. Even if it's just to stay in their own country, maybe go and work for one of the big Spanish dailies one day. And if they get it right, if they call it right as they're going along, which is a 50-50 chance, right, then it can do their career wonders. And I think by saying deadline this, deadline that, it's just, you know, it would have been obvious on Friday, wouldn't it, to say the player's going to think about it this weekend. Of course he's going to fucking think about it. It's just common sense stuff. So I don't get caught up in all that, guys. I don't, honestly. But I certainly aren't paying attention to one specific journalist that's churning a lot of stuff out at the moment when there is nothing really to say. So I trust Liverpool Football Club on this. And I also trust Liverpool Football Club because if it does go tits up, there is a plan B. And that is going to be my next video. So I want you to go and watch it. All right, guys. I might just have to have a bit of my tea first, though. Very hot. Like me. I don't mean hot as in like, ooh, look at you. I mean, I'm not being funny about it, but imagine if I lost all my weight. Can you imagine? Imagine. Not going to do it, but imagine. If you appreciate this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to buy me a coffee or a beer, hit the super thanks button. Or if you just want to leave me a comment and say, Duncan, I'm fucking sick of this, I would understand. All right, guys, speak to you soon.